At the State House now, a legislative fight is ongoing after a budget proviso aimed at giving lawmakers their own pay raise led to a lawsuit.
And because of that suit, as of now, lawmakers are not getting paid anything at all. Josie Frost joining us now from the State House with tonight's story.
Lawmakers this year voted to give themselves a pay raise for the first time in decades. But one state senator sued, calling the raise unconstitutional. Now, while the Supreme Court weighs the case, lawmakers are going on months with no pay at all.
It was a backdoor way to increase legislative pay.
I don't know anyone who would work at the same job for 30 years and not have a pay increase.
At the State House, a pay raise meant to help lawmakers backfired. A line in this year's budget more than doubled their in-district compensation, from $1,000 a month to $2,500. That money is supposed to cover needs to serve their constituents, like public forums with voters, but no one tracks how the lawmakers can use it. Representative Hamilton Grant says it's barely enough to cover the expenses as is.
We come out of pocket paying for town halls to keep our people engaged and informed. We come out of pocket paying for those mailers with the legislative updates that hit the mailboxes. And so that becomes expensive for us to do our job and to effectively communicate to the people that we are assigned to represent.
But the state constitution forbids lawmakers from raising their own pay within their current term, which doesn't end until after the 2026 elections. State Senator Wes Clymer opposed the move on the Senate floor and sued to block it.
We have a 200-plus-year-old constitutional precedent that the legislature is not allowed to raise its own pay in real time. That if the legislature is going to raise its pay, that the people, by way of elections, have an opportunity to weigh in on who does and does not get that raise before it takes effect.
But does that rule apply to the in-district payments? That's what the Supreme Court must decide. While they weigh the case, the court suspended the proviso, meaning lawmakers are not only not getting a pay raise, they aren't getting the monthly checks at all and haven't since June. Grant says they'll have to get creative to still help their constituents.
Maybe not as many in-person town halls, maybe shifting to virtual town halls, maybe shifting to a spot or a environment to where you're taking testimony. All of those things where you can cut costs and save, but still get the word out to your constituents.
But Clymer says that's lawmakers' own doing for trying to quietly slip in the proviso.
And if it had been properly vetted, if it had been subject to scrutiny and public debate, this likely wouldn't have happened.
Now, the in-district compensation is separate than the lawmaker's yearly salary of just over $10,000. They got that in a lump sum at the start of the year and will get their 2026 salary in January. Reporting at the State House, Josie Frost, News 19, WLTX.
Josie, thank you. And arguments are going to be heard on the case on October 22nd with hopes of a ruling by the end of this year.